Maybe it will have coal mining issue.
Hi there, it's Martin and Nick, and today we are going to talk about 18 Knowles Street. So let's get into it. And I'm going to share my screen, and that's Martin looking very serious there. So the first thing to say about this is that it's unusual because it's got an EPC-C, which is surprising considering that it's end of terrace, because generally they don't do so well on EPC. But then it's because quite a lot of money has been spent on this property, and I'll just go here and I'll show you. It's got a filled cavity, and this is good. It's got plenty of loft insulation, and also it's got what appears to be a modern boiler system. So that's all very encouraging. And as we see here, the few things that are curious about this, and we'll see more detail in a minute when we look at the video footage from Viewer. I think this ceiling may have been replaced in its life. So one of the big issues with old properties like this is plaster and lath. And what happens is that you have these strips of wood, and then you have plaster squidged between them, and then the tradesman, the plasterer, tries to make it as nice and neat as possible. But generally speaking, the quality of the wood is usually terrible, and it's all very undulated, and therefore it's just difficult to work with to get a really nice finish. And so what I'm always looking for in terraced houses is whether it's had a deep renovation, whether the old plaster and lath has been ripped out and new plasterboard put in. I suspect that's the case. The reason I'm not 100% sure is because of this kind of coving here. Generally when the old ceiling was ripped out, they wouldn't put fancy coving back in. And that looks fairly fancy to me, so I'm just not very sure. We'll find out in a minute because it's all in the detail. Anyway, new kitchen, but here's an interesting thing. You've got what appears to be wooden tongue and groove pine ceiling with either matte or gloss finished paint over it. Now, the issue with that is it's not very fire safe. So we'll need to look at that in a minute and just see exactly what's going on with that. There might be a fire safety issue with that. Generally speaking, when these sort of ceilings are in, they come out, as it were, if there's a big renovation. I need to double check on the legalities with that. It's not like it's having polystyrene tiles, which are definitely no. That looks okay, I think. And here we have the upper floor. It's very difficult to see what's going on here. So I'm going to rely on the view, but terribly low resolution pictures, which just don't really help. And there we are. So it's been very freshly renovated. The kitchen, I mean, this bathroom looks fairly modern. It doesn't have one of these electric heater units here, which means that the hot water most likely comes from a combi boiler, which is a good thing. There's the backyard, obviously, and all looks reasonably tidy. Let's have a look at that floor plan, and then we can look at the Weber stuff. So that all looks fine.
Yeah, it's 74 or 76 meters square.
So it's a good size, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good size.
Now, the
cars looks good in the neighborhood. So
like nice fancy golfs, and it is a good road actually, and there's a nice houses, and actually 74 meters for a 2-bed terraced is a good size.
Yeah,
it's a generously sized property, I would say. And has nice ceilings, high ceilings as well, which is good. Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things I want to just flag up before we get on with the rest of the viewings, and that is I've got the road map here. And there's two things I want to just flag up. One is the roof looks reasonably okay.
This is not the property what you're searching.
Is it? Oh. Which one is it?
Yeah, it's that. It's that. Sorry, because it looks like you will go far away. Yeah.
Okay. So there's two things. The roof looks like it's reasonable, but also, I don't know if you can see, but you've got these little drill holes here along these bricks.
I already also checked the outer side of the because it's end of terrace. You can see the whole walls, and you can see that they have like holes for ventilation on the bricks on the top as well on bottom.
So there's a few things going on here. Yeah. You've got the ventilation bricks, which are good. It's a cavity wall. We know that.
Yeah, and down you have the same. You
bricks.
can just put down. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's really nice.
The other
I checked it. I checked this, and that's why I think it's a good for. That's why it's EPCC, because the wall is good.
And this looks like drill holes for the ventilation, and not the the insulation. And one thing that's slightly unusual, although I'm not quite sure, but you can see that these bricks are very different. But then I don't think it's a real problem. I think it's just when they were building the property, they just used different quality of bricks for the first half and then the second half. But anyway, it's a non-issue really. Let's get back to the Vubers stuff. And I'll pause here for a second. So the roof looks a bit kind of rough and ready, but in fact, I think it's fine. So that's a positive.
Yeah, EPC said that for the roof that it's 250 milliliters.
Yeah. So they've put a lot of money into getting the fundamentals right. Now that looks okay. There's a little bit of shadowing there, but I'm not too concerned.
Nick, do you download the photos from the viewer?
Screen, am I?
Did you download the
videos?
Because yes, and also they have photos. I can go over them.
Yeah, I've downloaded the whole file. So I've got one picture of some damp around the back.
No, but you have more pictures. I don't know if you can. Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yes.
I will share my screen. So here it is. Let's send them here. So this is the electrical.
Yeah. So it's a modern. So what they've done is they've restored.
Modern boiler looks like.
They've just done all the essentials.
Yes.
So the fundamentals for this property are actually quite good, as far as I can see so far.
They write like cosmetic from your dump again under kitchen window.
Yeah.
Roof
but it's
front looks okay. Dump. Roof rear looks okay. Dump outside kitchen windows on the front. Blown. That's okay. That's nothing particular.
Yeah. I'll do
boiler in the bedroom. In the bedroom. Okay. Consumer looks new. We'll go over there. This is like a dump in the garden. Roof looks okay. Everything looks. Yeah,
a blown window, by the way, is not a problem.
Yeah.
Now this damp is something, but if it's not coming into the kitchen, then it's okay. Now the blown window, can you just go back to that for a moment? Now the way this is a fancy effect window, and I suspect it's going to cost a little bit more to do one of these, but essentially the two panes of glass are sealed, and the seal is gone and the condensation's come in, but it is relatively cheap to replace these windows, and I'm talking like probably £200 for that.
Yeah, and this is the windows with blown.
Yeah, so it's a straightforward process, and that would be a standard fancy effect. And you just, that wire mesh goes into the interior.
Yeah, what I noticed, I don't see any like issue with here with the. It's small garden, but it's nice. So as you can see, like this neighborhood have a large extension. So
yeah,
if you want, okay, let's go over the viewers.
There's probably not much scope for extension, but you know, hey.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Yeah. And here we are, and we're in that front room, and the wall quality looks okay. There, it looks tidy enough. I'm looking for the ceiling as well to see what that looks like. It looks fairly smooth. Could do with being in focus. Come on. And it's all a bit out of focus, but anyway, I think it's acceptable. Okay, we're back. These walls look pretty flush. So I think this has had a massively deep renovation at some point. Not necessarily this time around, but at some point in its history. Because pulling off all the plaster on the walls and so on, it's a big job.
Yeah, I will just check when the survey report doesn't have any dump issues, just that. But it doesn't look like, but maybe it's just their height. So.
And very high ceilings.
I want to check the dump in the near windows in the kitchen as they write.
Yeah, it could be that the area under the cabinets has been painted over, and that actually there is a damp issue. I mean, that could be the case. I don't know. It's difficult to judge these things without getting a surveyor in and taking a really good look.
Yeah, but they said like outside of the kitchen, it's supposed to have damp, not inside.
Yeah, but if you got that kind of depth, so then the question is, why is there so much damp out there? And I don't know the answer for that. And this would be a pantry, I suppose. And it all looks okay. Those walls look okay. Those walls look smooth. And they've replaced the doors. Those are plastic kind of pressed doors. They're really the cheapest doors you can get, in fact. And that ceiling definitely looks like tongue and groove wood painted over. It's probably not an issue. It doesn't look too bad. And it's quite well insulated, so I don't think it's a problem. And there's a shed which looks okay. And very nice. And here we are.
Here is a dump. What they said under the.
Yeah, and that back root wall looks fine. Yes. So then the question is that damp going to come into the house? Because that is quite something. But you can see, I don't know if you can see, but there are drill holes here all the way along. So I think it's okay. I think, I don't really know. It looks like there's a lot of water ingress or moisture ingress, but there is damp proofing. So perhaps they did, I don't know. They might have done this painting over when the wall was still damp, and therefore the paint went. Something like that could have happened. But let's assume that the damp proofing is done correctly and is good.
On Google Street View, I cannot see because of the walls in the back garden. So, in the fences wall, so I cannot.
So there's a new carpet. The thing about damp-proof issues are, if it's exterior, it's relatively straightforward. And I don't think there is a damp problem here. I'd be very surprised if there was. And here we are, the back room, very nice. Double glazing, all good, very nice. Lovely smooth walls. This property shows itself as being in fun. Now, you see that this is a classic test. You can see here the light coming in, and you can see the strips of old wallpaper or backing wallpaper, but basically it's a very smooth wall. And that's very encouraging. And on we go here. Now, does this bathroom. I need to just check the floor plan. Going to go back here and let's just have a quick look at that. Right, so that's I see how they've done this. So you've got the hallway, and then into the bedroom you go, and then each bedroom has its own access into the bathroom. So it's kind of like a weird ensuite. But the fact is, you don't have to go through someone's bedroom to get into it. You do, but it's either bedroom A or person B.
It's a little bit weird,
but traipse through the bedroom.
Yeah, but like this, with this, they have more space in the bedrooms.
Yeah, it's a compromise, and probably a reasonable compromise. And moving on, so we've got a new bathroom suite here. I think it works fine. If you've got a family, then actually it's fine, and people have, the privacy that they need, so that's okay. Nice towel rail. Again, lovely smooth walls, nice fresh carpet. Okay, this is all good. It's a good, tidy house. Here's another telltale. If you look here, you can just see the walls. Again, I'm repeating myself, nice smooth walls. All right, now I think that is that. Let's have a quick look at the...
Maybe EPC first.
Yes. Okay.
I will share my screen. Or you have it. Okay.
I have it just because I wanted to point out about the what was it? The boiler. That's right, because it's got thermostatic controllers and all of this. So really, this shows me that they put a lot of money into renovation. There's very little to say here about this. You've got a B score. Everything else that comes next is just an awful lot of extra money for not very much reason. So that's all encouraging.
Yeah, and the EPC is fresh made, so everything should be good.
Ooh, nice fresh baked EPC. Love it. Okay, and here we are here.
The property is a little bit down.
And it's probably in one of these corner areas here.
No,
anyway,
bottom corner. One more street more now. Yeah.
Down here somewhere.
Yeah, here. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's very low crime, which is good. Like very peaceful urban area. If you get like 4 crimes, let's say under a crime a month, that's a very quiet urban area. So that's good. Demographics are good. It's a predominantly English area. a lot of C1s here. So this is a prime kind of renting area, and a lot of private rented it here as well, which is interesting. So just kind of, it works on that front. And I suppose it makes sense. I mean, Martin's going to talk about location in a minute, but it looks pretty central.
Yeah, it's Radcliffe Central, really close to Central, so it's a nice location.
So it's a kind of middle class area.
Yeah.
Extraordinary capital growth. And the reason I think, okay, so this is kind of a thing. These areas where you've got a dark border, it represents a lot of local authority housing, or a high proportion of it.
Yeah, there is Central. That's Central Radcliffe.
Yeah, and so what's happening is usually with local authority housing, you have a big sell-off at this time in the property cycle, and it's so what people buy the property from the local authority at a discount, they resell it, and it skews the figures and makes it look like there's ridiculous capital gain. However, if we look at this MSOA here, this area in the blue, it's got a very different makeup in terms of like the housing stock and so on, and it's getting 27%. So this is something. Now, 20% real capital growth over the last 3 years. This is up to June 21, and it's always about 6 months. There's always a 6-month lag or thereabouts, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. this area wasn't very strong in the last property cycle. So just to explain, if I haven't already, markets work in cycles, and there are lots of them. There's one indistinct peak here. This is house price affordability as a ratio, as a multiple of wages. So 13 times wages to buy your house in 1845, and roughly 8 or 8.5. But every time there's a peak, it represents a property cycle. This peak here, 2008. And at the moment, we have 2008 here, and then the crash, obviously, and we're somewhere around here, which means we've got another 4 years, 3 to 4 years left in the property cycle, where the markets just go a bit crazy. And this area, which is, what is it, M26, is it?
Yep.
M26 is, wow, there's only 2% of areas with greater growth than this area. It's phenomenal. And arguably, it's not overbought. In other words, in the previous crash, prices were reasonable. So what I'm seeing here overall is that it's 15% above in real terms, 15% above the previous peak of the last property cycle, which makes it relatively bought out in a sense. But the thing is, when I think about, let me just zoom this out and I'll explain my rationale here. Right. So when I look at the overall marketplace, if you ignore the numbers, just look at the colors, you can see places like Bolton aren't very strong. This is strong because it represents value, nice houses, nice place. And you can see how this capital growth is kind of following this line here. It's pretty widespread. It's very positive overall. And therefore I rated highly on growth. So that's where I'm at so far. Now over to you, Martin.
So I will share my screen.
And by the way, we're going to score all of this at the end.
Yeah,
so we've got a score which we will compare against other properties we've scored.
This is the last historical sale. It's a little bit sad. This property was sold many times, but I don't see any issues. Like,
yeah. Could you just quickly leaf through the pictures again? Sorry, I meant to do that earlier and I forgot.
Yeah, it's renovated, as you can see.
So that's the kitchen. That's the previous kitchen.
Yeah. And they strip out the paper.
Could you just go back to the picture of the kitchen again?
Yes, I will.
So they haven't really done much to it. They've tarted it up, basically.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, I was just looking to see if there are any signs of damp behind the...
No, I don't see.
Right, so they haven't done anything fundamental to it. They've just...
Yeah, but this is 5 years ago, so...
Yeah, it's the same kitchen, though.
Yeah. And I will go, like, the year of build. It's 74 or 70... EPC said that 76 meters square, so it's 74, 76. That's not really matter, in my opinion, but yeah. EPC is nice. This rare for end of terrace house, but this is good. That means that the quality of the walls are really good. I want to talk about the risks. No, but first I will go to the location. So basically, the Radcliffe is to Manchester is around, I think, 30 minutes. I don't know why. It depends where in Manchester, but it's around 30 to 40 minutes with public transport. Depends where in Radcliffe. And this location, when I will zoom in, this is central Radcliffe. Is really central Radcliffe. It's really close to the all shops here. You have also schools. One here. You have schools nearby. So it's really like prime location in Radcliffe. Also, you have like a little pond, small rivers and lake. So it's canal. So basically, it's really nice. Like you have a lot of. You have basically everything what you need. You have a park, you have shops, you have markets, you have schools, you have transport public here on the street, like the buses passing every 5 minutes. So this really nice location. So based on that, and I will just go through the only like not issue, but the garden is very tiny, but that's normal in terrace houses. Usually they don't have large gardens, especially if they're central, like this central Radcliffe. So that's normal. When you zoom in, when I will go to the street view, this 2021, I will just back in time to 2008. You can see, I just want to see how the people care about the property. As you can see, like they maintain it good. So I don't see any like issue with this property. The walls look really nice. So yeah, and I will go over I will go to the risk. The property is here. Basically it's here. And when you unzoom, you can see that it have like some issue with coal mining, but I will speak about that. The property is here and the coal minings are here and there. So basically that's more than, like here it's like 86 meters square, 86 meters or 60 meters depends, and here is 88. So there is like no issues with coal mining. It's between, but there is no issue, as you can see.
When there are things called environmental searches, which are done when a property is purchased, and the rule is if it's within 15 meters, then it's a point of concern, let's say minimum point of concern, and at that distance there should be no issue. At 86 meters, there shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, so basically it's not really a real issue. It's maybe have little risk, but not really, I will say. So when you go to the map for flood risk, as you can see, there is no flood risk. The property is here, and here is the rivers and so on. So where you will have like a low risk of water, rivers, and the sea, very low risk. So I will not be considered about that. Now I will go to the comparables. This is our property, and you can see this is terrace house, was advertised for 101, but it's terrace and smaller, it's like 64 meters square. This is also similar type of property, similar bricks and so on, and this is asking 130, almost 140. This is 130, also similar. This 130, so that 145, but this looks like newer build. This 145, end of terrace as well. 115, but it's not the same type of property. So yeah, this is auction, this 145, but this is newer. So I think they're asking 130, and they're asking good, but I'm thinking this property will go up to 140 or so. I will go with the rent. In the rent, as you can see, like 700, 67. Wait, no, it will rent more. Wait.
So what do you reckon it'll rent for?
700 at least. This is like end of terrace house, but it have a garden, and it's 775. This 750. This is similar property, and it's look like fresh, renovated, same, but it have little bit larger kitchen, but everything looks the same. So at least this property will rent for 700, at least.
Right, so that'll give you a 6% yield, won't it? Roughly.
Yeah. So I'll go for 700, let's say. That's the minimum. I think it will run for 750, but let's say 700.
If you get 750, it's 6.4.
On 130, it's 6.5 almost.
I'll share my screen.
Okay, and maybe we can give a score.
You can see here. So I've got my calculator. So let's assume it's 140, and if it's 700, it's 6%.
Yeah, I think it will at least 700, at least. So I just don't want to give like a big hope for the rent and after to not be possible. Let's go with the minimum, but it can go up. Well, because until the purchase time and everything, the rent will also go up.
Okay, well, for a foreign national buyer, 6% is a reasonably good minimum.
Yeah, if you offer 140, yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, let's talk about the scoring, and for condition, it's a 4.
Yeah, because it's a
decent
old but really nice. So
location.
and it's end of the terrace location. Yeah, it's the only one like I don't like is just like on the it's like end of terrace, and that's why the location is not really perfect. So I will give 3.8.
And the area?
Yeah, it's good. I'll go 4.
Time is actually very good. So I give it a 4. It's just kind of low level.
Demographics are also nice.
Yeah, they are, oddly enough. I'm going to give it that a 4.1. Not extraordinary, but actually good for renting. Capital growth is stellar here.
Yeah,
4.5. It's unusually good.
Yeah,
Sell time.
Yeah, it will fast sell.
Yeah. And price.
Yeah, it's good. It's 3.8 to 3.9 something. It's not 4 maybe.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the price is it's all about for the price. If you think of it in terms of, well, okay, rent time, that'll rent very quickly, and for yield, I think it's pretty good as well. So I give that a 4. Would you, Martin?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the yield is good. 6. Yeah.
So that gets a 4.1, which is actually quite high.
Yeah, it's a nice property. So the only thing what I don't like is the end of terrace, but end of terrace who is.
Well, people do like end of terrace because they have one less set of neighbors on one side of the house, which gives them a bit more peace and quiet. So, okay, so what's your overall assessment then, Martin?
I think I like this property as well, and I just consider a little bit about the coal mining, but not really. But you just need to have this in mind that maybe it can have some issue, but it will not. But just like there is low risk, but at least there is some risk. And yeah, that's it. I think that globally I like the property. It will rent fast. It will rent for 700. It will, yeah, and it will have capital growth, because the only thing also what I don't like is the floor plan. But anyway, it's still okay.
It's slightly suboptimal, yes. So my take is that it's in fundamentally good condition. It's been as extensively renovated as a terraced house can be. And I've seen an awful lot of terraced houses in equivalent areas that need an awful lot more than this does. You know, where the fundamentals haven't been taken care of. But this one, excuse me, getting over a cold. This one is good. Actually, it checks out well. So,
my opinion is 1.4.
140,
142.5, like the maximum that will give you 5.9 yield.
Very good.
Yeah, maybe you can go up, but I will not. I like it, but I don't think 145 is. But look, with the inflation and so on, even I can go up to 145.
Yeah,
but
and
I will try to not go. But if you want to, I will go up to 142.5. But 140, I think it will be considered a good price. Maybe I don't know. We need to call the agent, but I don't think 137 will be considered as a.
No, I think that's just probably wasted. So the way it works now is you let us know what you think, and then I talk to the agent, scope out the situation, and then there's a load of back and forth, and we work out what offer to make.
Yeah, we already spoke. I think the maximum offer is what need to be sent tomorrow. As I don't.
Yeah, I did talk to the agent, but anyway, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.